So this is where Bannon's combination of tricks, this is where it has led him and us. 4 months is not a long time. Moreover, his insidious influence, that cannot be locked up.
Well, let me address the left for a minute, the nasty media that's watching this right now. Let me address all the Democrats. For your information, just because Steve Bannon is going to prison for 4 months does not mean you're going to silence him. It does not mean you're going to shut down the War Room posse, and you don't have any control or power over any of this group. What you just did is you multiplied it by 10,000.
This is not a concert. This is not a rap artist, not a country artist, not a rock show. Look at the crowd here. I gotta tell you, any Democratic contender, even the DNC, has to be looking at this video and thinking, oh boy. Oh boy.
This whole movement is going to grow, and you're responsible for it. So if you hate all of us, you hate Steve Bannon, you hate the people and look down on the people that watch the War Room, and you think that they're beneath you because you think you're better than them, and you think your horrible, stupid networks are better than them, let me tell you something. What you did is you just put the message out there all across America that you are part of the problem. You're part of the two-tier justice system. You are the dictatorship. You're the authoritarian regime that the American people want to tear down and completely rid our country of. They hate you. And putting Steve Bannon in jail is going to make more of them hate you.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 152 of Is This Thing Working? How are you today, Denise?
I am fired up.
Man,
this weekend has shown everybody what Maga is fixing to do.
What we're all about, man. What we're all about.
This show is going to be on fire, folks, today. We are on top of this. Welcome to the show.
If we say this every Monday, man, it's been a crazy week. Or we say this on every Friday, man, it's been a crazy week. It's been a crazy week. Look at all. But let me tell you something. Since Thursday night, not even after the debate, but about 13 minutes in, when Joe got the blank stare on his face, since then, the news has been crazy. This has been...
Yes, and another thing, with Steve Bannon going to prison this morning, all weekend we have been putting out content on Steve Bannon, and you know he is not going anywhere because we are a team, and we will all step up, and it will get bigger and it will get better. And Steve Bannon, man, you are in our prayers, but we got you.
We got your back, man.
We got your back, and we are doing exactly what you asked us to do. We are pushing forward and winning. We're going to win this moment in time. It's history in the making, folks.
And everybody remember, just because Steve says next man up, don't stand there and look around for the next man to stand up. You be that next man. I'll be that next man. We can all be that next man up.
That's right.
That's exactly what we need to be. All of us need to be that next man up. Let's get this thing moving,
we're going to show you and give you little pointers on how you can do that during the show today. So stay tuned. Listen, we have a very special sponsor, brand new. Listen to them.
We would like to welcome our new sponsor to Is This Thing Working? So help us welcome Cornbread Hemp. Their mission is to draw on Kentucky's 250-year legacy of growing hemp, as well as the state's unique climate and soil, to manufacture the highest quality cannabis products available in America. They proudly offer full-spectrum, USDA organic CBD products with up to 2 milligrams of THC per serving. Their plants are grown in what's known as the Bluegrass Basin, which produces the highest quality hemp alongside the best bourbon and fastest racehorses. Cornbread Hemp is one of the very few, if not only, CBD brands in America who exclusively use the hemp flower to create their CBD extract, called Flower Only CBD, and they want the world to know. In a side-by-side comparison to a market leader, Cornbread Hemp checks all the boxes. They are USDA certified organic, flower only extracted, full spectrum, free of artificial colors and preservatives, and they are third-party lab tested.
Cornbread Hemp supports me on my wellness journey. I love cornbread hemp gummies. I especially enjoy the watermelon gummies. After work, when I feel overwhelmed, I take a gummy and I go for a relaxing and calming swim. So make sure you get you some cornbread hemp gummies. I take them daily. So whether you choose to take cornbread hemp gummies, oils, lotion, or whatever you choose, take them daily and discover a delicious way to improve your health and well-being. And if you're having problems with winding down for the day, try out cornbread hemp sleep gummies or the lotion, which I use every night to soothe my joint discomfort. Please check out Cornbread Hemp by going to cornbreadhemp.com right now for a 30% off your initial purchase of any products on the website. Again, go to cornbreadhemp.com and use promo code ITTW for this special offer. Remember, you get 30% off, promo code ITTW.
Our very first promo code.
That's
Man,
awesome. That's exciting.
It is, ain't it?
We
It
are
is.
moving on up. And that was a very long ad. And we will shorten it, but we wanted to introduce everyone to our new sponsor, and we're very proud of them for joining the partnership with Is This Thing Working. And before we start the show today, we want to state these are our opinions and our assertions. If you agree with us, tell your friends and share the show.
And if you don't agree with us, tell your friends and share the show. Also, stomp that like button, and please follow or subscribe wherever you see the name Is This Thing Working? And our podcast is available for download on all platforms like Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, anywhere you choose to listen to your podcast.
That's it. And make sure you download the Rumble app so you can follow the show, and you will receive instant notifications when we go live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you all very much for showing up every day. For June, we beat our numbers tremendously. Thank you so much. It's because of you. And the fact that we're Maga, part of the WarRoom posse, and we bring you information so you can lead and do what you need to do out there in the world to help save our country. But first off, we have Trump Watch. Trump's statement on the immunity case that came out today. Did you hear? I know it just happened right before we started recording today. The immunity case came out 6-3 for immunity for presidents. Who knew? Who knew that was ever going to happen, right? We knew in some form or fashion that a president needed to be immune. Or we could go back for years and years and years and years, right?
And bring up everything.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
In President Trump's statement on the immunity case, he said, "Big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American." In the immunity case, the court holds that a former president has absolute immunity for his core constitutional powers. Former presidents are also entitled to at least a presumption of immunity for their official acts. There is no immunity, the court holds, for unofficial acts. The core constitutional powers are things like appointing ambassadors and foreign governments. The court explains that it does not need to decide in this case whether immunity for official acts is presumptive or absolute. What they're saying is they're going to send the unofficial immunity acts back down to the lower court, to try to figure that out. And then I guess it'll probably end up back into the Supreme Court. But they kind of punted that down the road because there really hasn't been anything that's really come up, for
Right.
that to actually have a precedent.
And you know what I've seen about this in the ruling itself, especially, is it was a 6-3 ruling, and it put the judges, it put all 9 of them in a pickle.
It did.
You know what I mean? Because here's your 3 liberal justices that if they ruled for the immunity,
Yeah, they would not.
then they cover Joe
have a good
Biden,
time.
which totally destroys them. If they rule against the immunity, then you got to bring Joe Biden up on his charges. Then you got to bring Barack Obama up on drone bombing citizens, and you got to bring up George W. Bush on being a war criminal. I mean,
and
so it put them in a pickle, and they stayed partisan.
They did stay partisan, and I believe that they stayed partisan because they could, because they could stay partisan because the other judges went for the immunity. If it had been a 9-0, then the court wouldn't have looked political. Now it looks political to me.
And that's the pickle that I'm talking about now. So by the Supreme Court kicking this ruling back down, does that give the opportunity now for the question of official or unofficial acts of immunity? So now, can we bring up Barack Obama on charges of drone bombing American citizens? Or is that still an official act?
That's an official act. He was a president of the United States. He was doing an official act. I don't know if he was at home, though. See, now this is the thing. This is what's going to... Was he at home when he ordered this on a phone?
On PlayStation?
What actually is an unofficial act? Because honestly, when you're president 24/7.
Here's the biggest question in this official or unofficial act then. On January 6th, when President Trump was asking Mike Pence to handle the certification correctly, what about that?
That is an official act.
That is an official act, but they have used that against us
and you know
this
what?
entire time.
Well, you have to realize that the Democrats make shit up.
That's true.
That is totally. He did ask him. All he asked him to do was to let it go back to the states for like 2 hours apiece, like 12 hours, so they can look up, and
exactly
and kind of check the certification. He didn't ask him to not do anything.
So it's an official act. So what are they all up in arms about?
Well, they want to make it a crime. They want to make anything he does a crime. Everything he says, does, anything. That is not a crime for him to talk to the vice president about anything.
That goes back to as Bannon said, let's go back to the Old Testament times then. Eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. If that holds true, then we got to turn around and go back on all the others too.
I agree. Well, we're going to move on from this because this is going to get wild. Be paying attention to what's going on in the media. They're going to cry, especially on Morning Joe, Mika. Steve Bannon's favorite morning news is Morning Mika is what he calls her. And we have a clip from her from this morning.
Bannon will become the second former Trump aide to serve prison time for disregarding a subpoena from the House panel. Peter Navarro is nearing the end of his own 4-month sentence in a federal prison in Miami. And Dave Ehrenberg, real quick, assuming Bannon will show up, how long must he serve, and what exactly does it look like in terms of what he's doing time for? Can he then go back on work for the campaign? How long will he be behind bars?
4 months, Mika will be right in the heart of the campaign. He only has himself to blame because he could have served his time early on, but he appealed and he got lucky because he had Judge Carl Nichols, a Trump appointee, who let him stay out of prison pending the appeal. Contrast that to Peter Navarro, who you mentioned, who got Judge Amit Mehta, an Obama appointee, who sent Navarro straight to prison. At trial and appeal, Bannon tried to use his advice of counsel defense, but that was never going to work. It's a garbage argument because of a few reasons. First, when it comes to executive privilege, which he said his lawyer, Robert Costello, you remember him from the New York election interference case, said, yeah, you're going to have executive privilege. First, Bannon didn't even come close to qualifying for executive privilege because he only worked in the White House for a few months. He hadn't been in the White House for years by the time January 6th happened. Also, Trump's attorney told Costello in writing that that defense wasn't going to work because Trump was not going to invoke executive privilege for Bannon. And third, the courts have ruled that the advice of counsel defense doesn't work in contempt cases like this. So Bannon would have been better just going straight to jail instead of dancing around the monopoly board. But he and his podcast, as a result, will be on hiatus for the next 4 months, and he only has himself to blame for it.
It will not be on hiatus.
No, because we just got through. We just finished watching Steve Bannon doing his WarRoom show in front of the prison that he's fixing to walk into. And Mika says, if he shows up? He's not going to show up.
He's like, yeah, you're not going to take my First Amendment right away from me. And I dig it, man.
Yes.
But here's my question with that too then. Okay, with the executive privilege. And he makes the case, well, Bannon wasn't even in his cabinet during 2020 or even before. You know what I mean? He'd been out of there a long time. But if whoever the president chooses as his counsel, wouldn't that fall under that executive privilege?
An advisor?
Yes.
Yes.
Wouldn't
that's exactly what Steve Bannon has been talking about. And these people just totally just forget. You know, they want you to forget the real stuff that really went on. And honestly, Steve Bannon had President Trump's ear. You know, he was the one that was helping tremendously with the 2020 fraud election. And that's what they hate, because Steve Bannon comes out every single day and says that election was lost. The illegitimate commander-in-chief is an usurper and he needs to leave. That is what he has said every single day, and they hate him for it.
Well, and see how the media turns, and especially these guys, you see how they take a word and they turn it. Okay, Bannon was President Trump's counsel. He was his advisor, correct?
Correct.
Okay, where in the law does it say that advisor has to be a cabinet member? Where?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. That's exactly correct.
It doesn't.
And with these assholes here, it's almost as like they don't want you to think logically and ask these questions. They just want you to hear whatever they say and accept it as fact.
Mm-hmm.
That it just drives me nuts, man.
Yeah. Well,
if you don't despise the mainstream legacy media, then
yeah,
I don't know what to tell you.
They make me laugh anymore because, I mean, it's like a cartoon. It's like watching cartoons.
Introducing Coffee Brothers, where passion meets perfection in every cup. Our journey began with a simple vision to craft the finest coffee experience for every coffee lover. From bean to brew, we meticulously select the highest quality beans from around the world, ensuring every sip is a symphony of flavor. Join the Coffee Brothers family and elevate your coffee experience to new heights. Whether you're starting your day or taking a moment to unwind, let us awaken your senses with the perfect cup of coffee. Taste the difference with Coffee Brothers, where every sip tells a story of passion, quality, and excellence.
Please click that link below. And we have a video of Steve Bannon yesterday on a special episode of War Room. He's with Jack Posobiec and Charlie Kirk. Listen to what he had to say to everybody.
Down my First Amendment rights. I can't run a business. I'm not going to run a business, but they're not going to shut down my First Amendment rights. I'm going to tell Merrick Garland every day that he's corrupt. On January 20th, he and Lisa Monaco are going to start the investigation. They're going to start every day. So we're not stopping. But here's what next man up is. You can't, on the 11th of July, President Trump's going to be going to get sentenced to a couple of years in prison. Now, they may delay it. They'll probably have to delay it. But Mershant's out of control. Look what happened in New York City. They're liquidating Alex Jones. They got federal agents all over Jim Hoft and trying to shut down Gateway Pundit. Epoch Times is now get federal charges against them. You can go to anybody from James O'Keefe to John Eastman. 100 of the people driving the MAGA movement in back of President Trump are either indicted, bankrupt, debanked, deplatformed. Yes. Listen. And they sit there on ABC News and NBC News and said, you talk about retribution. Dude, Lord, are you looking at? But here's the good news. Carl. They know on Thursday night now we're winning by a landslide. We're winning by a landslide. And we're not going to tolerate it going forward. The only way to stop it is to stop it. The only way to stop it, you can't play namby-pamby with these people because they will roll over you. And on July 11th, they're going to try to put the greatest president of the 20th and 21st century into prison for a bookkeeping charge. This is how out of control they are. We're not going to tolerate it.
As Steve Bannon prepares to enter federal prison for his 4-month term following his refusal to testify before the January 6th House Committee, his supporters, us, and you, are not retreating in sorrow, but stepping up to heed his call for continued and increased engagement. Bannon, known for his role in shaping the populist movement and advocating for the America First agenda, has urged his followers to embrace the concept of next man up, a rallying cry for civic duty and activism in his absence. And that is what we are here to do, folks. And I am reading from warroom.org by Carrie Donovan. It's titled, No Time for Mourning, Time for Mobilizing. Steve Bannon's call to civic action, becoming the next man up.
It goes on to say, Bannon's message is clear. He does not seek pity, but rather calls for his supporters to fill the void left by his temporary absence with renewed vigor and dedication to their civic responsibilities. This call to action has resonated deeply within the WarRoom community, where individuals are mobilizing under the banner of patriotism and activism. As we always say, it's grassroots. It's all about the grassroots, people. And as we encourage you each and every day on our show, please, people, become informed and become engaged.
Especially in your community.
Yes.
You know, we're all about community driven, and we're going to go through this step by step every single day, the 123 days that the leader of our movement is going to be out of the picture. But his show is going on every single day. What you need to do is show up for his show. Show up for WarRoom on RAV, which is Real America's Voice. You can find him on Rumble, on Getter. He's everywhere. I mean, very easy to find. And there are people stepping up that are going to help anybody that needs help. But you need to help yourself. Let's get this going.
Here, and even in the article here, you ask the question, well, man, how can I help? Here's a way to help right here.
Yeah,
starting from July 1st to October 31st, this initiative encourages all of us, the participants, dedicate each day to advancing the principles of Maga, Make America Great Again. This directive is simple, yet it's powerful. Every day, make MAGA greater. Talk, post, text, act. One patriot falls, one patriot rises.
Yep. Here we have one more video to show you of Bannon, and he'll tell you like it is before we move on.
You got any little children?
Yeah. Oh,
Get them to put their hands over their ears.
Whoa, why are you
I'm excited.
Why are you excited? What do you mean excited?
No, I'm excited because, hey, I don't give two fucks about going to Danbury prison, okay?
Whoa.
Here's what I give a fuck about. We're going to take down Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, and the corrupt DOJ and the FBI and all of it. I could care less, okay? I'm excited because MAGA's going to let out a roar tonight and tomorrow and the next day and the next day and burn it all down till we get to November 5th, where President Trump's going to win in a landslide. We're not backing down 1 inch. So I'm very excited, and I'm particularly excited for the audience of Turning Point, Real America's Voice, WarRoom, all of it.
I'm excited, too. I am going to miss him.
Yep, me too.
I'm used to watching him every single day, and he doesn't miss a day. The only time he misses a day is, I think, when his father passed away and when he had court, because these people just are relentless.
Yep.
They are. And speaking of relentless, and who is behind it all is Dementia Joe. That's who's behind it all. And if y'all can believe for a minute that he won that debate, you are out of your mind.
Well, 72% of even them are already saying, man, that guy ain't going to make it. What I was going to say about Bannon and what I noticed in here, and if you, like you say, you watch him and you listen to him every day, what he's talking about is getting rid of the deep state, correct?
Correct.
What is the deep state? Is the deep state truly just the congressional members, or is it truly just
unelected individuals?
There you go.
That
is exactly what it is.
Fate.
And think about this: with the ruling on Friday, the Chevron deference ruling, that's going to play in big now. We talk about
there's another ruling that came out today, and it was Corner Post versus Board of Governor. They knocked down another administrative important detail that the government, continues to hold over people.
This is exactly it. Like you say, with the Chevron deference, with that, now what that does is takes away the court's actions of just deferring it back to the experts to interpret the law. So for those that don't understand what Chevron deference is and why SCOTUS had to end it, Spike Cohen put out this really great thread here, and I'm going to give you just a little bit of this. He said, for those that don't understand what Chevron deference is and why SCOTUS ended it, here's the long and the short of it. A family fishing company, Loper Bright Enterprises, was being driven out of business because they couldn't afford the $700 per day that they were being charged by the National Marine Fisheries Service to monitor their company. The thing is, Federal law doesn't authorize the National Marine Fisheries Service to charge businesses for this. They just decided to start doing it in 2013. That's what I'm talking about. This is a fine example of this. What about the ATF and them coming out with their rulings all the time about
that stops
about
now
guns?
too?
That stops now too. That's exactly correct.
And OSHA.
That's
OSHA
exactly
cannot
correct.
just arbitrarily decide they're going to just give you the new regulation. You got to do this. It can't do that no more.
And it takes the other person out of this equation too. Or I say person, but it takes the other one out of the equation too. The other three-letter agency that we all know and have come to hate, and that's the CDC.
Yes. Oh, and another one that I despise, the Department of Education.
Right.
You know, so there's many deep state actors that we continue to talk about. I mean, it's not
exactly
any one person. It's not an evilness against, people. It's evil that these
it's the point that these three-letter agencies can come in here not like that. What you're doing in your business is creating a competitive edge in the marketplace to put somebody else down. So what did they always do? They use this and they let corporations and they let three-letter agencies make the rules as we go along. And what did that do? It in turn put small business out of business because they just over-regulated you to the point you couldn't afford it no more.
That's right. And the only ones that could afford it was big business.
This is stopping this,
It is stopping this, and it is so great what President Trump did with the Supreme Court, putting constitutional conservatives on the court for the American people.
Yeah. And also for me to kind of segue us to something else maybe, but the same thing goes with this right here. Okay, we've seen Peter Navarro go to jail for this charge. We've seen Steve Bannon go to jail for this charge. We better see Merrick Garland go to jail for this charge. If not,
well, like MTG said in the cold opening, where is the Republican Party? Why aren't they stepping up? Why do they wait until the very last minute to decide they're going to do something? And then it's too late by then. There is no way that what they did, they, condemned the January 6th committee. What was that going to do?
Okay.
I asked that question many, many times. What is that actually going to do? Is that going to stop Steve Bannon from going to jail?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. It was all performative. And that's my point with it, with a lot of this is too. If you couldn't take and see what was going on, and you in Congress do not support releasing the audio tapes of President Joe Biden talking to Robert Hur, if you can't release those tapes and you're charged with contempt of court, then you got to go to jail, dude.
Yes, and Representative Luna has come out with an inherent contempt of Congress, and I would suggest that every Republican representative sign off on this, including ours here in East Texas.
From the outside looking in, and you see this happening, and you go, man, y'all could have done this a lot earlier to have had this process taken care of, worked out and everything, and Navarro wouldn't have been in jail.
Yes.
Steve Bannon wouldn't have been in jail. But from the outside looking in, if you're in support of this happening to these guys, but not happening to Merrick Garland, and you've had all this chance for the BLAG, for the hearings that you've had, if you've had all this chance and you've done nothing about it, then in my opinion, from the outside looking in, you're in on it.
Yes, and you're the enemy.
Exactly.
You're the enemy because we have sat here and watched you allow and go along with every one of the January 6th prisoners and everything that James and everybody that James just listed. I mean, Peter Navarro, that man hadn't done nothing to harm anybody. And out of everybody in the cabinet, he was in there until the very end. He was the only one that stayed from the beginning until the end. The one that Fauci just can't stand. I seen him on TV this weekend talking bad about Peter Navarro. I had to mention that because that was not cool. That was not cool at all. While Peter Navarro is in prison for some stupid 4 months in prison for a misdemeanor,
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have to get angry and get over it, and we need to step up. before we close today, we really want to talk about this debate that happened on Thursday because a lot of stuff came out. You know, Biden and his party, and you know, you hear on the one side, you know, oh, we're going to get somebody else. They're going to get somebody else. Then you hear on the other side, Jill Biden is in charge. And, you know, my question is, who is really in charge? You know, but we all have that same question and no one's going to answer it. But we have a poll here, a CBS News poll that really tells a lot of truth about who won the debate on Thursday. And Donald Trump won 56% and Joe Biden 16%. And then a lot of people said it was a tie. 28% said it was a tie. Who are those people? You know, I Look, see what it does to me? It makes me like my mouth just hang all the way to the ground because, you know, I don't understand even the 16% thought that he won the debate. Yeah, are you out of your mind?
Yeah, this is laughable. In real numbers, this ought to be 99 to 1%, you know, and the 1% being Jill Biden.
Well, they're saying that the oligarchy will decide his fate. You know, no one knows. No one knows what's going to happen with him. Right-wing media is coming out with, oh, he's going to be replaced. Left-wing media is, no, Jill's going to be up there. Jill's not letting anybody close to him. But I do have one thing I want to talk about before we close today, and it's Joe Biden's lies. Sean Fleetwood from The Federalist, he comes out with 20 lies that Joe Biden told.
During the debate. That's pretty good. That's a small amount for him.
That's a small amount.
He was half-stepping.
I know. One of them was the Border Patrol endorsement. Everyone's seen all over the place that Biden claimed he was endorsed by America's Border Patrol Union.
They immediately fact-checked it almost in real time. I mean,
in real time. It's like they were waiting on it or something. And then the Trump, number 2, the Trump bleach lie.
Yeah.
You know, and then Biden claimed Trump told people infected with COVID to inject themselves with bleach. He did not. He did not say that. Illegal border crossings.
Yeah, he claimed that 40% fewer people were coming across the border illegally under his presidency than when President Trump was president. That's not even nowhere near true.
I know.
Then he lied about the military deaths and said that nobody died under his administration when we all know what happened with Afghanistan. Every one of us know.
Everyone knows. The 13 service members that were killed under Biden's disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal. It was terrible.
Yep. Inflation. He lied about inflation.
Biden claimed inflation was at 9% when he came into office. And we've showed you over and over. We posted that. I think we talked about that on Friday. And then late-term abortion. That was a lie.
And President Trump checked him on that in real time.
He sure did.
And they allowed it to happen. I credit, you know.
And then number 7, cages at the border.
Which was a complete Obama thing.
Yes, it was.
That was way before. Yeah. No new taxes.
Yep. Biden claimed he didn't raise taxes for anybody making less than $400,000 a year. That is false. I'm certainly feeling the tax hit.
Biden claimed that Trump once said Hitler has done some good things, as admitted by left-wing Snopes, even Snopes. And that was one that Tim Cass and them had a ball with fact-checking on him the other night. There is absolutely no proof that Trump ever said this. The allegation has also been denied by President Trump's staff. Biden repeated the debunked suckers and losers hoax.
This one got a lot of play during the debate. It was, everyone knows. I mean, that was false. He did none of that.
The Iran policy, President Trump's Iran policy, Biden claimed that President Trump did nothing to stifle Iran aggression. That's false. For example, Trump ordered the assassination of Iranian General Soleimani in 2020.
Everyone knows that happened.
And here's a little bit more truth about Iran. Iran was just about broke till last year when Joe Biden threw $6 billion to them.
That's exactly right. Number 12.
Yeah.
Trump's NATO remarks. Biden claimed Trump told Putin, do whatever you want regarding Russia's invasion of Eastern Europe. But that's not accurate. Trump's remarks came during a South Carolina rally during which he recounted a story from when he was president and speaking with a NATO member. Trump purportedly told this state that he would withhold U.S. support if they didn't pay their minimum defense spending obligations. And everyone knows that who he was talking to. It was Germany.
Yes, he was.
And he told them, hey, if you don't pay your part, you're not here no more.
That's exactly what he said.
Number 13.
Yep, Biden once again falsely contended that the only existential threat to humanity is what?
Climate change.
Their favorite go-to. Yep.
Oh, my gosh.
Efforts to stop the J6 riot. Biden tried to insinuate Trump made no effort to ensure demonstrators wouldn't breach the Capitol on January 6, 2021, which is in no way true. We all know what he said. It was out there. Everybody knows
folks,
what President Trump
they're
had
still
said.
trying to use January 6th. This morning, as a matter of fact, on 3 different channels, they played an ad of Joe Biden talking about January 6th, look what they did, da-da-da-da-da-da, Trump sucks, that kind of stuff. Talking about January 6th once again. They have nothing to run on. They have nothing.
They always go back to abortion. They always try to
Roe
run on
versus
abortion.
Wade.
And during the debate on the subject of late-term abortions, Roe versus Wade, Biden claimed the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe versus Wade when it was decided by the Supreme Court in 1973. There is absolutely no evidence that's true.
No evidence. Then he talks about Bo's death. Biden claimed his son Bo died in Iraq. Once again, we all know he keeps claiming this, but that was not true. His son died of brain cancer in 2015. So everyone, there's many more. Everyone, let me tell you, they keep coming out and saying that President Trump is a liar. President Trump lies, 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 lies. But do you see 20 fact checkers of President Trump's running around? No, I have not seen any. I looked for some. You know, I looked. Biden is a liar. And Biden isn't the one running the country.
Is this thing working?
Rise up.
Well, hey, everybody, that's it for today. Thanks for listening. And I hope you've enjoyed the show. Hope you've learned some things about what's going on around us in the nation and in your communities. You know, we couldn't do this without your continued support either. We appreciate all of you showing up, taking the time to listen to us today. So please, like I say, make sure to hit the like button, share our show with all your friends. We'll see you next time on Is This Thing Working? And as always, I'm James, and that's my lovely co-host over there,
Denise.
and we'll see you next time.
We're out.